Well, this is a new gadget that I just got in the mail. It is a pinless non-marring moisture meter. Now, there are several types of these meters. The least expensive ones generally have pins on the top of them, and they usually stick out a little bit on the top here. And they're generally only sufficient for measuring moisture in wood. And quite often you'll see woodworkers use that. The other characteristic of those type are that they're usually the least expensive, and they usually only measure down to maybe 4% or so. This particular moisture meter will measure not only wood, but it will also measure drywall, masonry, and other surfaces. And with being non-pinless, it means that it actually has sensors here that can measure up to 3/4 of an inch deep in whatever surface you're measuring. So this type is usually more expensive, although I got this for around 50 bucks, and most of them of this type run several $100s. This is useful, though, for trying to find out where leaks are in your RV. RVs, like boats, sometimes the source of the leak can be 2 or 3 feet away from where actually it comes out on the inside where you see it, so quite often it's difficult to follow the leak. And this particular one, I've not tested it yet on my RV, and we're going to do that here today. But people have used this particular one for their boat transoms, which are fiberglass. They use it to check their transoms to see if there's any wet condition in the underlying wood. Now, the one thing I see already about this that I don't like is this battery. It comes with a battery, which is nice, but it's a super heavy duty, which means basically it's a carbon zinc battery and prone to leakage. So I'm going to replace the battery with a fairly inexpensive Rayovac alkaline. Always use alkaline instead of these. So we've got the meter here and a little booklet. So probably should take a few moments to read through this at some point. Since we're a little impatient, we're going to hook the battery to it and just see if it works. So there we go. Turn power on. And shows 12% humidity. I don't know if there's any calibration to it. I guess we'll have to read it. It does say wall. Let's look in there. There's masonry, softwood, hardwood, and back to wall. So it looks like maybe it ran through a calibration cycle. And I'm going to wet the end of my fingers here. Doesn't seem to make much difference. So I guess I'm going to have to read the manual. Oh, I see. Here's the sensor right there. I thought it was here, but it's right there. So I'm just going to wet the tip of my finger. And look at that. You can see. So as you drag it across. Now, one thing it does say, I read, where metal will affect it. So this RV has a lot of metal, aluminum ribs, so it may cause some false readings along the ceiling, but we're going to try it and see. I'm going to read the manual for a second, and then I'm going to pause the video for that, and then we'll try it. The manual does say that it's useful for woodworking, water damage restoration, building construction, and home renovation. Examples include checking for moisture on or below the surface of carpets and subflooring, measuring the moisture content of wood, drywall, masonry, or concrete before painting, wallpapering, sealing, or treating, locating water leaks above ceilings, below floors, behind walls, selecting dry lumber. So it does seem that it might work out for our application. It's a non-invasive pinless instrument that can detect moisture up to 3/4 inches below the surface of wallboard, masonry, hardwood, softwood, and so on. So we'll try it. Well, actually, you know what? I think this is going to work out really good because it is not detecting where the aluminum ribs are in the motorhome. So I did have a leak around here the other day. but I sealed it and I don't see any moisture at all. So maybe it actually does work. Well, see here, while I'm running through, right by the door, I'm actually measuring the moisture. And so I'm going to have to keep an eye out on that. Actually, you know what? I figured out this is where the stack is for the holding tank. So I wonder if I'm measuring some moisture from the PVC pipe through the stack, because it is right up against the wall here. So it is within 3/4 of an inch. I mean, this thing's so sensitive. Seems like I'm measuring the inside of the stack going to the holding tank. How about that? And one of the areas that I've been fighting are water damage behind these, and I can still see that. Looks like I still got some water moisture behind this, so I may have to open that up again and look at it. And this thing does seem to be pretty sensitive here, because what we've got is our holding tank. Now it's empty, but I'm sure there's moisture in here still. And anywhere where I measure here, I measure some moisture. So I'd say this thing is pretty darn good. Actually, I'm thinking this may be bad news, because I'm on the passenger side, and I'm measuring along here, and it's measuring okay. That's right there, the passenger side of the RV. And now I'm going to run over to the driver's side and do the same thing. It does seem to show, seems to show I've got some water issues here. Nothing up there, pretty much along here, so I may have to work on these seams here. And just to show, I get a reading with metal. So that's my review of the General MMD7NP moisture meter. For $50, it seems like a worthy addition to any toolbox, even though it may be a bringer of bad news.